Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how much the IUI process cost us.
And the breakdown.
The breakdown of everything and where all the money went specifically, and how much insurance covered for what processes and stuff like that. We've had a lot of people asking us, so in this video, we're going to break it down for you.
Here it is.
No pressure, no diamond, no diamond.
Alright, so as we were going through the process and doing all of this, I actually saved all of our receipts that we received from the fertility center because I thought it might be important one day to go back and add up everything and see how much exactly it costs us.
Absolutely.
So we'll just kind of go through it, these, and kind of tell you what the prices were, what they went to. So this alone is just the fertility center, right?
Right.
So that doesn't include the sperm, it doesn't include labs that I had to receive, and it doesn't include drugs. So one of the first appointments we had, this was actually one of the most expensive procedures that we had done, and it was recommended by the clinic. So it was
The hysterosalpingogram, which basically what they do is they inject a dye into your uterus to make sure that both of your fallopian tubes are open and they go to your ovaries. And it lights up on the screen. That's a really uncomfortable procedure too.
It was probably equally, no, it was more painful than the IUI. It was so painful because they inject the dye in and they have this catheter inside your cervix and they want you to roll around on the bed to get the dye all dispersed throughout. But it's really cool seeing your fallopian tubes. I'll tell you what, they do not look like they do in the textbooks.
They look like flying spaghetti noodles.
So that one cost $1,010.
Yes.
Then we had this was just a follow-up exam, and that fertility center specifically charged $230. And we'll have a running list somewhere. Somewhere we'll put a running list so you can kind of see, and then we'll add it all up at the end. So that was just a follow-up for $230. So next we have an ultrasound appointment, and this was $438. This was before the IUI. They were doing an ultrasound to see how my follicles were developing, to see if they would be big enough, or when they would be ready to be big enough for the
trigger shot.
So that's that. And then we have the IUI day. So this covers the actual procedure of the IUI and their process where they actually have to thaw the sperm and clean it and manage the sperm. So that one costs $570. Okay, and I think the rest of these are ultrasounds because you have to go out after the IUI process. You have several ultrasounds so that they can monitor.
They're all the same,
right? So like this one's a 6 week ultrasound, $243. 8 week ultrasound, $243. 7 week ultrasound, $243. And then we have 9 week ultrasound. So as you can see, we had to go every single week to Charleston and get an ultrasound just to make sure things were sticking. I think by the last one, we could see a heartbeat, and it was pretty awesome.
And implanting in the right spot.
To make sure, you don't want to have an ectopic or anything like that. And they want to make sure that, an acceptable amount took. Because if I think there's too many multiples, I think more than twins, they don't want to proceed with something that could be potentially dangerous. So that one was another $243. Okay, so with just the fertility center alone, with the scans, the IUI, all of the ultrasounds, the initial consult, the total for that came up to $3,450. That does not include the sperm, like we said before. Do you remember what bank we went through?
Yes, we went through the California Cryobank, I do believe.
And so this is actually one of the most expensive things we had to purchase, the sperm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once we bought it and requested that it be washed and have it delivered and everything, the sperm ended up costing us $1,240.
I believe the shipping in and of itself was like $250.
Okay, so now we have our total costs from the sperm itself and from the fertility center. One random fee that I didn't include when I was talking about the fertility center. So to go to our specific fertility center, they did require a certain number of things to be completed before they accepted to start the process.
Yes.
But so one of the things to be included that we had to pay for was they require us to do like a therapy session. We had to go talk to a therapist to make sure, you know, that we were emotionally ready to use donor sperm and to be pregnant with like a donor sperm. So that's another fee, and that cost us about, how much would you say? Do you remember?
It was like $75 to $100. It's like your run-of-the-mill hour-long
Yeah.
psychology.
Okay, so we have our therapy session, we have the fertility center, we have the sperm, and then another aspect of costs was the drugs. If you watched our IUI video where we're actually going through the process, you'll notice that I think we talk about a number of drugs that we're using, and then you actually do see me using the
Trigger shot.
No, you do see
And
me using the
FSH.
trigger shot, the follicle stimulating hormone. So for the drugs, there's actually a breakdown of an estimation of what the drugs will cost from the fertility center, so I'll kind of read off that because it's a little more accurate. So I did have to take 10 tablets of letrozole, and that the estimated cost for that drug is $174. And then the FSH, which is what you saw me injecting, that is about $261. The HCG, which is the trigger shot, was $112, and then the progesterone tablets that you take after the IUI, that is about $100. So those were the drugs, and luckily my insurance covered a lot of that as well. I think out of whatever that estimated cost is, that's how much, let's add that up really quick. Okay, so all of those drugs together, if we didn't have any insurance or anything like that, is approximately going to be about $647. Okay, so the total cost of the fertility center visits, the drugs, and the sperm was $5,437, all wrapped up. The only thing that doesn't include is my prenatals, because I get that prescription for free from the military.
Yep.
And labs that we had to do going into it. They required what did they require?
Well, I had to do a full STD panel,
So did I.
and so did she. And then you had all sorts of labs.
I did, yes. They required
Regularly.
a bunch of labs, and then after it was all done, I had a bunch of labs because they wanted to test, you know, my thyroid and stuff like that. And then that also does not include the gas that we use to drive to Charleston.
Right.
A lot. And mind you, that's 5 hours of driving total every visit that we had. $5,437. That is
What it costs.
that is the number.
to make.
That is the big cost
baby.
to pay for this bump. But that's not saying it's always going to be that direct amount, because every center is different. Sometimes centers don't require all the things that we were required to provide. You know, every doctor's office is different. It's all gonna be different. But that's a good idea for the IUI process, how much it costs. Okay, so now that we've told you the big number, the 5,437, big old whopper, I can tell you what we actually spent. Because so if you know you're a soldier out there and you're looking and you're saying, I have so many friends that are same-sex couples in the military, and there's not really a lot of information for us out there to navigate this. So I'm gonna tell you right now, TRICARE actually comes in super clutch. I didn't know that they would for such an elective kind of thing, but our insurance was a banger for this process.
Absolutely made the biggest difference.
I don't know how much they cover for IVF and other procedures, but for the IUI, they covered every doctor's visit that we had.
Everything other than the actual IUI and
So
sperm.
every
obviously.
doctor's visit that we had, so every charge that I talked about from this, the only one that we had to pay for was IUI day, and that was the $570.
And they even paid for over half of the meds.
Yeah, and so with the medications, it paid for the majority
And the
of the
labs.
medicine. I think I paid $150, maybe a little less than that on the medication. I only had to pay for one of them, and the rest of them were paid for by TRICARE. All of my labs were covered. My prenatals were covered.
The therapy appointment, however, was out of pocket.
Right, that's not bad.
No.
So overall, we ended up spending about $1,900 out of our own pockets for the procedure.
And then gas. But
So the
That's
Army paid
significant.
for more than half. For more than half. And one of the ways that we found to make it affordable for us, so we got married in September, and instead of having a registry or something like that, we actually asked for money. We created a baby fund. We had this cute little box, and we wrote a cute little poem in our invitations and asked our guests if they would like to provide funds.
If they wanted to help us make a baby, that was the only gift we wanted. We didn't want pots and pans and plates. We wanted to start our family.
So that helped a lot. That covered about $1,500 or so of the whole process, and we ended up not paying barely anything of our own money.
Yeah.
Which was a huge blessing.
So that breaks down all of the significant costs.
All the costs.
Yeah, all the costs. So if anyone has any questions about, any of the terms that we mentioned and why they were necessary, if any of them... Well, first let me just go ahead and say everything we did, I feel was absolutely necessary for our success.
For the best chance at succeeding the first time, I feel like everything was absolutely necessary.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. If you kind of endured that whole video, I hope that was everything that you needed to make you feel confident that you are financially ready, or you can actually plan now to be financially prepared to pursue this process yourselves. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah,
if you liked it, subscribe, and we'll keep putting stuff out. If you have any other questions, drop a comment, and we will make sure to answer.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks.